The true target of the Oreshnik missile at LVIP has been exposed. Moscow strikes right at the core of NATO war production. A chilling reality check. Welcome to Worldview. LVIP has just become the epicenter of a truth the West desperately tried to hide. The strike named Oreshnik has silenced the narrative spinning for the last few hours. When the dust settled, the energy crisis story vanished. What remains is a question that sends shivers down the spine. What was Russia really aiming at? Flight path data shows absolute precision. Trajectory, timing, impact, all calculated. Zero waste, zero error. The target? A facility cloaked in civilian cover but guarded with a level of secrecy and investment far beyond the norm. When that cover was pierced, the entire structure behind it was exposed. This was not a symbolic message. This was a strategic signal sent straight to those who know the rules of the game. LVIP proves Moscow has shifted gears from reactive to proactive, striking the root, not the symptoms. In that moment, desks across Europe felt heavier than ever. The next developments will shock you. Stay with us. Hit subscribe, like, and share right now to stay ahead of the news. The real target is revealed. Oreshnik struck the heart of war production at LVIP, deep inside an aircraft repair plant. A civilian shell hiding a secret military assembly line restructured over years. The gas depot? Just an information shield. A perfect smokescreen to distract European media, trigger energy fears, drive up prices, and pull attention away from the true coordinates. Tracking data confirms Oreshnik slammed straight into the suburban industrial zone. Satellite images confirm the devastation. The factory workshops are gone. Deep craters. Shattered concrete. The signature of a warhead designed to kill fortified targets. Oreshnik didn't appear for psychological effect. It came to deliver a message. Moscow has pinpointed the logistics and production centers driving the escalation. This wasn't about energy. It wasn't environmental terror. It was about destroying war capability. The moment Oreshnik touched down at LVIP, the gas storage story collapsed. What's left is a hard pill for the West to swallow. Russia doesn't strike on emotion. Russia strikes on coordinates. And this time, the coordinates were the heart of a war machine hidden for too long. Why was Russia forced to use the rare Oreshnik? This wasn't an emotional outburst. It was military math. When a target is a strategic threat buried 25 meters underground, standard options fail. Russia needed a strike with absolute precision and enough power to crush deep structures. Oreshnik was the only answer. These weren't random basements. These were bunkers built to withstand bombs, cruise missiles, and drones. Layers of reinforced concrete made most weapons useless. Only a hypersonic, kinetic warhead could pierce through, sending energy straight to the bottom floor and collapsing the chain. Oreshnik was born for this mission. The choice of weapon reveals the priority. Oreshnik is reserved for red-line security threats. The message is clear. This target was equal to a command center or a strategic arsenal. No gray zone, no survival. Mach 10 speed, unpredictable trajectory. Impact energy like a small meteorite. Current air defenses were helpless. Oreshnik didn't need massive explosives. The kinetic force turned concrete to dust, steel to shrapnel, and underground bunkers into tombs. Russia knew the political fallout. But in Moscow's logic, national security overrides media reaction. Hesitation meant risking future escalation. Secondary explosions and sinking ground tell the true story. The aftermath speaks volumes. The initial impact ended. Then the secondary explosions began. 1 minute apart, 2 minutes. A rhythm that only happens when energy triggers a chain reaction underground. The ground sank. Massive craters formed, sucking down earth and concrete. This proves a large hollow space below. Warehouses, technical rooms, tunnels designed for war. A surface factory leaves a surface crater. Here, the destruction spread deep and wide. This architecture requires years of construction. ventilation, power, escape routes. It's a semi-buried base designed to survive. The secondary blasts confirmed sensitive materials were stored below. Shockwaves shattered windows miles away. The ground shook repeatedly. A subterranean assembly line was destroyed from top to bottom. Militarily, this is undeniable proof. Purely civilian sites don't dig this deep. Only long-term war targets are built like this. The strike stripped away the camouflage. A civilian factory with a NATO skin. From the outside, the facility gave itself away. 4-meter fences, razor wire, military-grade surveillance, blind spots covered by overlapping cameras, guards in dark uniforms, professional, heavily equipped, but no national insignias. This is NATO-style security, not a repair shop. Access was locked down. Safety zones expanded hundreds of meters. Locals pushed back. Photography treated as a threat. Inside, strict checkpoints, timed movements. This is military compartmentalization. Everyone knows only their specific task. Logistics revealed the external hand. Trucks with Polish and Romanian plates arriving at night, moving in formation, quick stops. This fits the transport of sensitive cargo, not commercial parts. Workers signed strict NDAs, paid high wages for silence. A model typical of special facilities where information is fractured to protect the system. This factory operated as a military node, not an independent business. Western money, pre-war contracts. All roads lead to one conclusion: money first, war second. Inside the civilian workshops, they found machines from the US, UK, Germany, modern composite lines, high-precision CNC, robotics, millions of dollars in infrastructure. A wartime economy can't build this overnight. Financial records reveal the smoking gun. Contracts signed in late 2021, before the war began. Money released, lines ordered, sites prepped. The infrastructure of war was built before the first shot was fired. Paperwork masked it as economic recovery. Reality? Dual-use equipment installed to military standards for drones and aviation. When the command came, the switch was flipped to war mode. This wasn't a reaction. It was a script written in advance. The debris speaks English. The wreckage left behind what the Western media won't mention. Components with English markings. Circuit boards, control units, safety labels, all following Western industrial standards. This is the language of a supply chain outside Ukraine. Documents found on site, instructions, blueprints, quality checks, all in English. No Ukrainian technical terms. The locals were operators, not designers. The real owners held the intellectual property and the decision-making power elsewhere. The parts matched US and UK systems, NATO connectors. This factory was born to serve modern war. The suspicious silence of the West. After the strike, Western capitals went quiet. No barrage of press conferences. Brussels avoided details. Berlin changed the subject. London gave vague statements. Why? Because speaking out means admitting the truth. The strike hit Western military infrastructure deep inside Ukraine. Any detail releases the liability. In closed rooms, the questions are flying. Why was a civilian plant running on NATO standards? Why English-speaking experts? Why the silence? Because the strategy is to bury the story. LVIP wasn't an exception. It was a link in a chain. From Kharkiv to Dnipro to Odessa, the pattern repeats. Civilian cover, Western funds, military production. LVIP was the key. Its destruction exposes the entire network. The illusion of safety is shattered. Distributed logistics are no longer safe. The coordinates are known. A brush with history in Kiev. According to British media, UK Defense Minister John Healey narrowly escaped a nightmare. A massive Russian strike hit Kiev as his train moved through. Missiles and drones. Explosions near the tracks. 4 dead. The train stopped in the freezing dark. sirens screaming. Healy confirmed he was close enough to hear the air raid warnings for real, not on a screen, right outside the window. This wasn't a diplomatic visit anymore. It was a warning. War has reached the safe zones. High-ranking NATO officials are now within reach of kinetic strikes. A few minutes difference and the political consequences would have spiraled out of control. Oreshnik, Moscow's hypersonic message. After Kiev, the message was sent. Oreshnik, not just a missile, but a new phase of deterrence. Hypersonic speed, unstoppable. It renders warning systems useless. Moscow views this as a direct response to attacks on Russian symbols. The message isn't diplomatic, it's kinetic. You strike our power, we strike yours. No names needed, just coordinates. The era of the safe zone is over. London reacts, from shock to strategy. The shock in Kiev triggered a hard response from London. The UK government vows no tolerance. Aid to Kiev accelerates. Enter Project NIF, a race to build ground-launched ballistic missiles for Ukraine. 500-kilometer range, deep strike capability, and Octopus, interceptor drones to flood the sky. London is doubling down. If Russia upgrades speed, the West upgrades range. Peacekeepers, a promise or a test? A new front opens. London and Paris are preparing for the aftermath. A plan to deploy peacekeeping forces to Ukraine, but only after a ceasefire. The US will monitor. British troops are already training for high-intensity zones. Budget allocated for 2026. This isn't just symbolic. It's a real military commitment. But putting NATO boots on the ground where hypersonic missiles fly, that is the ultimate gamble. Stay tuned. The game has changed.